Hello learners, I'm Mom Javel and I will be your teacher for today. If you are going to see or read a literary piece, you will notice different background, emotions, and information. These things are being influenced by various factors. Today, we are going to study these factors that are seen in a literary selection. Our lesson for today is about explaining how a selection may be influenced by culture, history, environment, and other factors. But before we proceed with our discussion, let us check your background knowledge about the topic. Say yes if the statement is based on culture, history, or traditions, and no if otherwise. Number 1. I have noted that my kababayans or countrymen are fond of celebrating even small victories through small gatherings attended and participated by the whole barangay. The answer is yes. Number 2. I am finally coming home after 10 years. It is no. Number 3. It confuses me to address my three sisters differently, Ate, Diche, and Sensei. Yes. Number 4. There's no need to travel and be starved, for they can serve me while I am standing on our doorsteps. No. Number 5. It also amuses me how they celebrate banquets with family and friends. It is called fiesta. Yes. Thank you for joining me in answering the activity. Statements in number 1, 3, and 5 are influenced by our culture, history, and environment. Here are the various influences in literary selection. First is culture. Marian Dictionary defines culture as the customary beliefs, social forms, and material traits of a racial, religious, or social group. Also, it is the characteristic features of everyday existence, such as diversions or a way of life shared by people in a place or time. Cultural influence talks about the cultural background in which the author is being exposed to the following. First is the human behavior. What is the behavior of the people around the author? Second, the vocabulary or language used. And the third one is the human emotions or perspective. Cultural influence can also include material items. Let's take the short story, The Wedding Dance by Amador T. Daguio. It is a short story about a husband and wife, Awiyao and Lumnay, who had been married for 7 years. In spite of being in love with his wife, Awiyao feels the need to marry again to have a son. At his second marriage celebration, Awiyao goes to check on Lumnay, knowing she is upset. Awiyao thought the answer to Lumnay's sorrow would be to have her join the other women during the wedding dance. Let us check the author's background for us to understand how culture influenced the author in writing his story. Amador Daguio was born in Ilocos Province of the Philippines in 1912. He began writing poetry in high school and published his first poem before he graduated. Through his career, he taught at various schools in the Philippines and also worked as a lawyer, editor, reporter, and public relations officers for the Filipino government. In his writing, Daguio seeks to establish a pure Filipino voice, distinct from its colonizers. Even in English, Daguio's writing is Filipino in essence. In The Wedding Dance, he drew upon the culture of his Filipino ancestors to explore Filipino traditions along with the universal themes of love, suffering, and societal expectations. Traditions. These are the inherited, established, or customary patterns of thoughts, actions, or behaviors such as religious practice or a social custom. Here are some unique traditions that embody the local beliefs and values inculcated through the centuries. First one is pagmamano, practiced as a sign of respect to elders. It is one of the most oldest and most notable Filipino traditions there is. Mano means hand in Spanish, fittingly so as the pagmamano is done by gently tapping the hand of the elder to a younger person's forehead. The elder is returned says, "God bless you." Hence, why the act is also often referred to as bless. Next is kamayan. Filipinos love to eat, especially sumptuous food. They eat kamayan style. From the Filipino word kamay or hand, kamayan is the traditional way of dining using one's bare hands. Another one is fiesta celebrations. Celebrating fiesta is another influence of the Filipino colonizers and was mainly done to honor the patron or saints. Pamamanhikan. Once the panliligaw or courtship stage has been surpassed, all the possible harana or serenade has been sung and the couple finally gets together. Next comes the pamamanhikan. Well, if the couple decides to marry, that is. Pamamanhikan is the formal act of a guy asking the girl's family for her hand in marriage. It usually involves the guy's family bringing over gifts and discussing the couple's plans for marriage. Next is harana. The traditional Filipino courtship is an extremely long process, and one way to woo a girl is through a harana or serenade. With his friends in tow, the guy goes to the girl's house, usually at night, and sings classic kundiman or folk love songs to her until she opens her window and invites him inside her house. Next is the bayanihan. Although not as evident as it was before, bayanihan truly captures the strong essence of community Filipinos have and is usually exemplified through helping a neighbor transfer houses. Traditionally, bayanihan means your neighbors literally carrying one entire kubo or the native nipa hut to your new home location. During these pandemic days, the spirit of bayanihan is shown through a community pantry. It was initiated by Ana Patricia Nun. The idea behind the community pantry was that people could take as much as they need and donate whatever they can. Next is history. John Jacob Anderson, one of the famous historians, defined history as a narration of the events which have happened among mankind, including an account of the rise and fall of nations, as well as of the great changes which have affected the political and social condition of the human race. Let's take a look at Dekada 70. This Filipino novel was written in the 80s by Luwalhati Bautista. Luwalhati Bautista is a renowned Filipino author. The novel depicts the struggles of a typical Filipino family trying to survive the martial regime under the dictator Ferdinand Marcos, which defined most of the 70s in the Philippines, for which the novel is named. Bautista was born in Tondo, Manila, Philippines on December 2, 1945 to Esteban Bautista and Gloria Torres. She was a journalism student of the Lyceum of the Philippines but dropped out because she had always wanted to be a writer and schoolwork was taking too much time. Despite a lack of formal training, Bautista as a writer became known for her honest realism, courageous exploration of Philippine women's issues, and compelling female protagonists who confront different situations at home and in the workplace with uncommon grit and strength. Another influence is through environmental influence. This pertains to the situation, object, or condition by which one is surrounded. The environment can facilitate our discouraged interactions among people. The environment can influence people's behavior, mood, and motivation to act. Let us take the story The World is an Apple by Alberto Florentino. This is the story of how wrong decisions become greater burdens to a family. Maria's family happens to be in the lower bracket of society. He cannot even provide for his family. It tells us how an apple changes everything. Temptations are the reasons why many people, especially the poor, get into a crime. It also shows how a parent loves their children. Let us have the author's background. Alberto Florentino is a Filipino playwright and book publisher. His plays in English center on the conflicts in the everyday lives of ordinary Filipinos. The most famous among his work is The World is an Apple, which earned him his first Palanca Award in 1954 and remains one of the most performed plays in the Philippines. Let us see what you have learned in our discussion for today. Identify the meaning or synonyms of the given words. Using the graphic organizer, fill in each box with the word banks corrects definitions or synonyms. You may pause this video for you to write down your answer and play afterwards. Now, check your answer. So for culture, it is the traditions or beliefs. Also, it refers to social behavior. For history, it is defined as events happened before or an eventful record of the past. For the environment, it is a habitat or a place of human activity. Next, in each number, tell whether the lines taken from the story is influenced by culture, history, or environment. Number 1. It was the first time I really understood my parents and why they were so devoted to Marianito. I could not forgive myself for having been blinded by excessive jealousy and hatred for my brother. If I had only listened to what Mom tried to tell me many times, I would not have called my brother a rascal. Poor brother, I could have been showered you with the love and understanding you needed so badly in a short time. It is too late, for you are gone because of cancer. So this is influenced by the environment. Number 2. Sir Mohan Lal is an Indian who doesn't seem to be proud of his ancestry. He wants to be more like the English instead to be his own person. He doesn't want to speak his native language. He doesn't even want to be identified with his own people. He does everything, in fact, so he wouldn't be compared with his fellow Indians. So this selection is influenced by culture. Number 3. I have a dream that one day this nation will rise up and live out the true meaning of its creed. We hold these truths to be self-relevant, that all men are created equal. It was influenced by history. Number 4. It is not yet unproven, but there might have been an earlier man who lived before the Tabon man. This is the Cagayan man. Unfortunately, all we have are the tools of the Cagayan man and the remains of the animals he ate, but not his bones. History. Thank you for listening and hope you enjoyed today's lesson. See you next time!